For most of us, when we think about suffering, our first instinct is to just avoid it, right? To see it as a problem that needs to be solved and gotten rid of. But what if that's not the whole story? Today, we're digging into a really fascinating idea that our most painful, difficult experiences might actually hold the keys to our greatest growth.
All right, so here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start by cackling the paradox of pain itself. Then, we'll unwrap two very unexpected gifts that can come from it, humility and kindness. And finally, we'll see how this whole perspective can completely flip our definition of what it even means to be successful.
So, first things first, let's really challenge that standard view of suffering as just static, meaningless noise we have to endure. The idea here is to lean in a little closer and ask if maybe, just maybe, there's a kind of music playing within it.
And this is the question that really kicks the whole thing off. It's such a powerful way to reframe things. The point isn't to start enjoying pain, of course not. It's to consider that it might hold something incredibly valuable if we can just find the courage to look.
Yeah, this slide just nails that shift in perspective. We're moving from seeing suffering as a bug in the system, something that needs to be patched, to seeing it as a feature, an alchemical process, one that can actually transform the heavy lead of our pain into the gold of wisdom and character. Now, something that's absolutely crucial to understand here is that this is not about toxic positivity. Not at all. This perspective is deeply realistic. It actually starts by acknowledging what it calls the hellish aspects of pain. It fully respects how awful it can be before it even begins to explore what value might be hidden inside. Okay, so let's get into the first gift that can be forged in this fire, true humility. And we're not talking about being meek or putting yourself down. This is about a powerful, ego-shattering process that can, in the end, free us from the prison of our own pride. The source uses this incredible Japanese expression to get this idea across, to have one's nose broken. I mean, it's so visceral, right? This isn't a gentle course correction. This is a complete and total shattering of your pride, the kind of experience that doesn't just teach you a lesson, it fundamentally changes you. And this is so profound, it's actually comparable to a concept from psychology called ego death. That's the moment when the whole story you've built about yourself, your sense of control, your importance, it all just collapses when you come face to face with something you absolutely cannot control. And here's what's so important to get. You can't just think your way into this kind of humility. The source lays out a very clear path. First, you hit a wall, a situation where all your effort and planning mean nothing. Then, you have to confront that feeling of absolute powerlessness. And it's only then that a real, deep transformation can happen. But, and this is a huge but, not everyone who suffers gets this gift. Here's the fork in the road. The difference between an experience leaving you with a bitter scar versus a profound lesson comes down to a choice. The choice to truly learn from it, to fully accept your own limits in that moment. And you can see how this starts to build, right? Because once this huge internal shift happens, it radically changes how you see everyone around you. And this brings us to the second gift, a deep, genuine kindness. Wow, this slide just puts it in such stark contrast. The idea is that someone who hasn't really known deep suffering can be harsh. Their logic is sharp, unforgiving. They see someone struggling and their first question is, why can't you just do this? But someone who's been to that dark place, they don't just see the struggle, they instinctively imagine the hidden story behind it. It's a total shift from judgment to compassion. And this leads to another just beautiful idea from the source. At the very bottom of sadness, in what we think of as total darkness, there's actually a unique kind of light. And this isn't the light at the end of the tunnel, it's a light you can only find in the tunnel. What I find so fascinating here is how the source talks about this light. It's not just some abstract hope for the future, it's a present reality. It's described as having a tangible, warm feel to it. It becomes a part of who you are, and it shows up in the smallest things, like a gentleness in your eyes or the simple patience to just wait with someone without any pressure. Okay, and this brings us to what might be the most profound part of this whole perspective. This inner transformation, it leads to a complete redefinition of success, of failure, and of what it really means to live a good life. I mean, listen to this. This is a statement that's really designed to make you pause. The source suggests that all the things our culture labels as failure, losing a job, getting sick, a relationship ending,
that these very things can be the essential ingredients for a much deeper, more meaningful kind of success. And to describe this different kind of success, the source uses this absolutely stunning metaphor, a light like oxidized silver. Think about that. It's not the bright, flashy, loud shine of new chrome. It's a deep, muted, quiet glow, one that has character and history and real substance to it. This table just breaks it down perfectly, doesn't it? You've got conventional success on one side. It's shiny, it's external, it's all about grabbing attention. But this oxidized silver success, it's internal, it's quiet, it's profound. It doesn't need to shout because its presence is just felt. So you might be thinking, what's the difference between someone who's just been worn down by life and someone who has this deep glow? Well, the answer is introspection. It's the active process of using those hard experiences like a whetstone to polish yourself. Without that reflection, hardship is just, well, it's just exhausting. But with it, it becomes illuminating.
And the ultimate expression of this whole journey, it's a person who doesn't just do acts of forgiveness, they sort of become forgiveness. Their very presence makes other people feel accepted and understood, creating this safe space for others to just be human and imperfect.
So let's just pull this all together. You start with the heavy lead of suffering. You put it through the fire of introspection, of really acknowledging the pain and learning from your limits. And what comes out is gold, the gold of genuine humility, deep kindness, and a kind of success that's defined not by what you have, but by who you have become.
And so this whole journey really leaves us with one final, powerful question to turn inward. It's a question not about the darkness itself, but about what might have been born from it.
So as you think about your own story, your own life, maybe you can start to see it. That quiet, oxidized silver glow in your own character, in your empathy, in your strength. A light that isn't there in spite of your hardest times, but maybe because of them. A light that quietly makes the world around you just a little bit brighter.